Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Boss Ravioli Queens. This episode is You're Not Entitled to Anything. So, we're going to be talking about kind of like entitlement for like employees and entitlement for like some of the residents in healthcare. I mean, there's a lot of other entitlement out there, but we're starting
local.
there.
Starting local.
For those of you who do not know us, I'm Boss Lady Amy.
Nicole Ravioli. Fuck
and
you.
Jasmine the Queen.
Also, we're your 3 fave caregivers.
I'm the favorite.
Sure.
You can believe that.
Delulu is not the Salulu.
I live in a world of delusion.
We know.
It's okay. We support you.
Anywho,
so on to entitlement. Oh boy.
Which spectrum do we want to start on? Residents or workers?
I guess whichever one. That's hard.
I know. Let's start with residents.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's just dive in. Superman dive.
So I don't know if any of you other caregivers out there have noticed, but like when
they've noticed.
I'm sure they've noticed. But how you feel like when you're taking care of certain people and they feel like they're entitled to all of you. Like entitled to just you. Like, and as much as you tell them that there's other people here, they think they're the only person that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy. Especially when you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off and everybody's demanding.
It's even worse when you have the select few caregivers who like cater to every whim of just a couple residents. Because that like makes it so much worse.
Yes, because then those residents expect it.
From everybody.
Yo.
Like I could literally be on my way to the bathroom and someone will be like, "Can you refill my water?"
I'll be like,
I have to pee.
Be like, give me a minute.
Yeah, but then they get all mad if you say that. So I usually just refill their water first, even though I'm holding my pee, and then the stream sound of the water refilling makes it so much worse.
I know, and you've been holding your pee in for probably the past like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Forever.
See, that's when I'm just like, that's when I make it funny, and I'm like, hold on, I'll be right there. I definitely will fill your water, but if you don't want me to clean up another puddle, I'll be right back.
Right.
That usually makes them laugh. If not, then I'm in trouble.
And then they're in a better mood.
Yeah.
Usually.
Exactly. I feel like sometimes humor is the only way to handle those situations, like with those really entitled residents. Because what else are you supposed to do besides bow down to their every request?
Right.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Or the entitlement when you're like serving them meals and stuff too.
Oh,
like I am so over like all the complaints and stuff about the meals. I'm like, why are you telling me? I don't cook them.
Right. Like I'm just handing it to you. Don't shoot the messenger.
Or when one of them will be like, I always get a PB&J on the side. You don't need a PB&J on the side. Like you already have an entree and 2 sides and a drink. Shut your freaking cake hole.
And then like they won't even touch the PB&J though.
Right.
Like they'll eat like their entire meal and they'll leave the PB&J that they specifically requested on the side.
Oh my gosh, I can think of somebody who used to do that. Oh, that drove me nuts. Oh, and so she even did that one time. She wanted like a peanut butter sandwich or whatever. And I'm just like, that's fine. I can get you that or whatever. Because she didn't want whatever we were eating. Fine, whatever. Make you the peanut butter sandwich. And she didn't like my answer. So she went to the other coworker.
Love that.
And asked her about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was like, I just told you the same thing that she just told you.
I know. And then like, I don't know if you remember from like the most recent place that we both left. The one resident who always would like take her clothing protector with her to her room. And like we're supposed to grab them after dinner because they get washed every single day.
Right.
Actually, it's like twice a day.
Sometimes. It depends on how dirty they are, to be honest. Like if there's nothing on them, you can just put them back out. Not supposed to, but it happens. Anyways, she was taking it back to her room and I was just doing my job, y'all. I was just like, hey, can I have that so we can wash it and you'll get it back for breakfast in the morning? And she like was really hesitant, but she like handed it to me. And then she flips out, completely just goes ballistic on me. So my coworker tells her, hey, we're just going to wash it. You'll have it back for breakfast in the morning. Completely fine. I was so mad. I was so mad. I was like, what did you tell her? And she was like, I told her exactly what you told her. And I was like,
oh my God.
Nah.
No.
Oh my God.
That was probably one of the most irritating things at that place, to be honest.
And keep in mind, like when it comes to food, obviously substitutes are okay. Like if they don't want the meal, fine, whatever. But we're talking about those residents who insist that they deserve extra because they're better than everyone else.
Ooh, yeah. Or my favorite, the residents that come out like looking for you and screaming and stuff, and they're like, is there anybody around here to help me? And we're like busy doing stuff. But the thing is, this is what makes them super entitled, is like you finally start helping them and you're like, there's a button around your neck, sir. Press it if you need something.
Oh God.
You don't know how much that happens. I'm like, sir, you literally have a call button.
Well, that's like, so this one person at the new place that I work, rapid fire on that fucking button. It's just like ding, 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 ding. Like it doesn't get a chance to play the whole little like tone. And it's literally because they want a cigarette. And it's right away in the morning before they eat, because they get one before they eat and after they eat. But said person is a Hoyer, and there's 28 other people that 3 caregivers have to get up, and one of them is a med passer.
Right.
Absolutely not.
So, sorry, bud, you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
That's literally 14 people per caregiver.
No, not most of them, but they have a few Hoyers. Some of them are kind of independent, and some of them need like a 1 assist. There's not too many Hoyers though.
Me and my coworkers used to take bets on this one lady as to when she was gonna ring again.
We've done that quite a few times.
Well, it gets to the point where it's so ridiculous. Like it sounds morbid, but you have to find ways to have fun on your shift, because like, you know, some of the stuff that you deal with is so serious. You have to find a way to make it fun. It's sometimes it's just so like you feel like you're in a movie. You're like, I can't make this shit up. It's so surreal.
Just like that. One place I went to that I told you about, this resident that he put on his call light, and I went in to answer it or whatever, and I asked him what he needed and shut it off and stuff. And he said he needed to be changed. And I'm like, oh, I can help you with that if you like, or whatever. And then he just lost it. He just lost it and basically didn't want males, which was fine. That's all he had to say. Like, I could have
I want a female.
That's it. And I'm like, that's fine. And he like flipped out on me and basically said, I don't want any fucking males in here and blah, blah, blah. And I've told them that before. And he was like freaking out. And I'm like, that's fine. I can get a female. But I'm like, but I told him, I'm like, I'm just letting you know it's me and the nurse here right now. So it's either me helping you or you're going to be waiting until she's free.
And then that toes such a fine line, because then it's like, well, if she is not going to be free for hours, then it could be potentially looked at as neglect. Because
this said nurse was running 3 other floors. Like, she was doing residence on not just my floor, but 2 others.
I do remember when you told me about that.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
That was
so like I called her and I said, like, whenever you get a chance, he wants a female, and I don't know. So Unfortunately, I really didn't go in there the rest of the night. Like, every time he called, I had to call her, but...
Yeah, but he literally told you that he doesn't want males in his room, and that's part of his rights.
Right.
That's his right.
So, see, you guys, there's a real fine line there, because if a resident refuses, you really can't do anything unless it's gonna, like, be more harm to them than good. So, like, if dude is sitting in his own pee for, 3-4 hours, obviously that's not okay. You have to be like, I have to change you.
Right.
And they're probably going to fight you every step of the way, but they have the right to refuse to a certain extent.
And sometimes that gets really iffy. Like, if a resident really hates you and you're, like, one of two people there, or if you're the only one there, like, you're like, wow, I'm sorry, but I have to do this for you. Sometimes that can be really sticky, because I've been in that situation many times.
Same. Hard not to be.
I didn't even tell you the best part of that. So, like, he actually has a cell phone too, so he called his family on top of it.
I remember that part too, but
I answered the phone or whatever, and they said, oh, he's been on his light for a while, and I'm like, I understand, but I did go in there and answer his light, and he doesn't want me to do any of his cares, so he has to wait for when the nurse is free.
What did his family say?
And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I love it when the residents try to paint us as the bad guys when they're the ones refusing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not my fault that you don't want me to help you.
It's my favorite when the families actually agree, and they're like, oh yeah, dad's an old fuddy-duddy. He's gonna do that. Like, it's refreshing, because most of the time awful.
This one wasn't even an old guy. He was probably in his 40s, but he was like a paraplegic.
So he's also probably kind of a perv if he doesn't want any males in
there. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was getting as soon as he said it.
When are we going to talk about that? Because it's also not okay for your caregivers and CNAs and nurses to feel uncomfortable because you're being a fucking creep.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I've worked with plenty of coworkers where I've watched them and, like, try to grope them. I've actually worked with, like, a few women that are like, they just like men.
Which is
creepy.
Like, it doesn't matter which gender, just stop. Just don't do it.
It's like that.
Don't do it.
It's like that meme. You got all that dick in there and you're not going to share it with me?
Oh my God. Are you working, Mo?
I need a mental scrub brush, please.
Oh my God. No.
It needs to get all the nooks and crannies in my brain.
So, fun fact, men like that, the super creepy type, are the ones, or is the reason why I don't do healthcare anymore. Not healthcare, home health. I absolutely refuse.
Oh, yeah, because you're by yourself.
Yeah.
So, I had a client, I was 18 years old. I had a client who, oh my God, every time I'd bend over, he would try and grab my butt. Every time I'd bend over, like, the other way, he would be trying to catch my boobs. Like, he would do it all the time, to the point where, like, I had to figure out ways to try and hook him up into his easy stand without bending over, like, within arm's reach. Like, I was so uncomfortable, and he just kept at it all the time, always telling me what a nice body I had, what a nice chest I had, what a nice ass I had, constantly. And
the fact that they think that's okay just because they're old now.
Well, and he was.
It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay back then. Like,
he was constantly doing this in front of his wife all the time, and then she was horrible to me because. Like, I was really just there to do my job.
I want to clean your husband up or whatever, and then have my way with him.
Yeah, and she just hated me because she thought I was just this young, pretty thing, I guess, for her husband to look at. It was horrible. So then I called my supervisor, and at the time, the company was in the middle of a buyout. So, like, I had no direct supervisor. I never knew, like, where to go, who to go to. The only thing I had was this stupid 1-800 number, and it would always bring me to someone else. Like, I had no information. So finally I was able to get a hold of someone to talk to them about this. And then they were like, oh, well, you're just taking offense to this because you're young. She was like, you know, I know it's uncomfortable, but she was like, if you want to pursue a career in healthcare, you need to get used to this. Like, sometimes clients are going to do these sorts of things. You need to learn to just tough it out.
Well, you're aware, but like when it gets to a point, it's...
Oh, I couldn't do my job. He was constantly grabbing at me.
I worked for a kind of home healthcare company way back when, and we literally got rid of residents like that. Like, we refused to come back because there had been so many interventions done, and they kept doing the same thing over and over and over, and they were told and reprimanded time and time again, and they were like, okay, well, we're not gonna care for you anymore, so you need to find someone new.
I mean, I feel like they should enforce that sometimes.
They should.
With patients, because it's like, it gets to a point where you just can't deal with it. It has to be safe for not only the resident, but it has to be safe for the staff too.
Well, also, I think it's really shitty how people discredit a younger person's opinion or like feelings or whatever the case may be just because they're young.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there are cases where some of the younger workers are really dumb. Sometimes. Sometimes. But you can't just discredit them because they're young. You still have to listen and take what they're saying into account.
Right.
And not just brush it off like it's nothing.
I mean, obviously, I didn't know everything. You know, I had only been in the
field
for
none of
a
us did
couple
when we
months.
started.
Well, right.
But I knew that it was
also,
wrong.
I'm also not saying like dumb and like okay. There's dumb and then there's dumb. There's two different types.
No, I get what you mean. Like, I totally understand what you're saying.
So there's dumb and then there's dumb.
Very much so.
There's D-U-M-B and then there's D-U-M-B.
That actually used to be a running joke at one of the behavioral places I work, because I was talking to one of my coworkers and he was like, she's not just dumb, she's dumb, but. And I was like, oh, we're enunciating the B now, huh? He was like, I can't express it any other way.
It's true though. There's dumb as in like, I just didn't know, and then there's dumb like, you should fucking know that by now.
Yeah, right.
Like, how do you not know that?
Yeah, I can think of somebody.
I got a couple in mind.
Anyways, I think we can move on to some entitled employees and workers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, the ones that first come to mind are the ones that think they know everything, but don't. So they'll like come in like they know how to do everything, know what they're doing, and then they do everything wrong.
My absolute favorite is when a new person comes in thinking like that mindset, constantly asking me, have you ever done this before? Have you done this before? Oh, do you know what this is? Oh my God,
I hate that.
And I'm just like sitting here with my 9 years, and I'm like, sure. Oh no, can you teach me? Like, and then later
and then
it comes
the best part about it though, the can you teach me, and they teach you the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah. And then later when they find out that you're like, you know, their new supervisor or you're like the veteran staff or whatever, and they always get that look on their face like,
remember,
ghostly white.
Remember, I have that story of that when I was working for a certain company and I was the supervisor, but I was from a completely different area and I was helping out my direct supervisor with some shifts in her area.
Yeah.
So I went down to a house and I was filling in or whatever, and she was super nonchalant and kind of rude and stuff or whatever until she asked me where I was from, and I said from this area or whatever, and she's like, what are you doing all the way down here? And I told her, I'm like, oh, I'm actually the supervisor for that area and helping my supervisor out with some shifts down here. And then she got real perky and real nice real fast.
That's my favorite.
I was like, oh, and then I told her supervisor immediately. I'm like, somebody needs an attitude check.
That's
Oh,
funny.
Oh God.
Or when they when you're just trying to know like what's this person's routine, and then they
Right.
start explaining, oh, like this is how you do this is how you do that. Like, no, I know how to do the cares.
Right.
I just need to know their routine. Are they particular about something?
Right.
And it's
I hate
so
when
irritating.
I hate when people do that.
It's like, I've been doing this for a long time.
Or after you tell them you've been doing it for a long time, and they like, and sometimes
need you to prove it,
or
like you know what you're doing.
Or they like when they're trying,
trying.
or when they're trying to train you, they like really go into depth about every little thing, and I'm like, I just need to know these people's routines. I don't need to know, like, I need to know where stuff is and their like routines and stuff. I don't need, you don't need to like go into detail on how to do a care. Like, I just want to know what they want, like how they want stuff done.
Okay, so piggybacking off what Amy said, my second day of training at the shitty place that we just left. Second day of training, the shitter hole. That's what they should name it. We should copyright that. Anyways, I was training with this really, really dumb bitch. That's how we're gonna start the story. And it was that one super particular resident that we couldn't put to bed before like 9 p.m. But I was on AMs, remember? So we go down there, and it's me and the 17-year-old that can't operate a fucking Hoyer because she's 17.
I know.
And
apparently they told me later that she could help with it. She just couldn't use the machine.
Right.
She could be the spotter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's me and 17-year-old girl who was not a dumb bitch. Well,
yeah, she wasn't bad. She wasn't bad.
She had moments where she was a dumb bitch, but she wasn't always a dumb bitch.
She was good considering her age.
Okay, hold on. We're off tracking. Let me finish my story and then we'll go back. Okay, so we're down there and I throw on the call light because 17 years old can't use a Hoyer.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman says that she needs to have a BM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. So I pull the call light. Dumb bitch comes down. Opens the door. Pretty much. Opens the door, and she's like, oh, yeah, we have to get her in the bed, and then we have to, transfer her to the toilet. And I was like, yeah, I know. Let's do it. And she was like, how long have you been doing this? And I was like, 9, almost 10 years. And she was like, oh, okay. And it's like she didn't believe me when I told her that I knew how to use a fucking Hoyer. So
it was the same with my dumb bitch that trained me.
So I get the resident all hooked up, and I start the lift, and I get her over to the bed, and like there's particular things that you have to do, like you have to pull the Hoyer back, and you have to pull her the other way, and all this stupid shit. So I'm the one operating the Hoyer. She's the one like pulling her over. I pull the Hoyer back, and I start to unhook, and she's like, "Wow, you really do know what you're doing." Those were the words out of her mouth.
That.
I was livid. I looked at her and I was like, you think?
Oh my God. Oh, and I hate when I work an agency job too. So like I go to facilities that like I've never been to before. I cannot stand when I go into a facility and I'm working with one of their staff that's been there for years and they ask me how to do something. I'm like, girl, this is my first time here. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what you're doing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Or when you're like, hey, where's this? And you're like,
Yeah. And I'm like, you've been here for 4 years. You just told me that. Like, yo, what the fuck?
Okay, so let's go back to entitled workers. So, like, the people that just start and they need, like, 5 days off in 1 month.
Oh, my God.
But because they said it in their interview, they automatically, like, get it. And you're over here dying on your, like, third 16-hour shift.
My favorite is when they're, like, super entitled when they come in, and then they don't make it through the day.
Yeah. Oh, like the one that my coworker on second trained for 45 minutes.
She went out for a smoke break.
No. We went out for a smoke break, and she was like, I just have to run and grab my nasal spray out of my car. As soon as we went outside, she dipped out the other entrance through the RCAC side and left after 45 minutes. And we didn't even get into the fun stuff. We were just showing her how to like do the dining room, where stuff was. Like, 45 minutes.
Some people got it, some people don't.
She didn't.
She didn't.
Oh, God.
Or this one pissed me off when that girl came in and she didn't even last because she came in or whatever, and she said that looking at the residents was too depressing for her, and she just left.
Who is that?
That was a while ago, and she was awful. She was only there for like a little bit. Yeah. She's like, them not being able to do anything and stuff is like too depressing for me.
Too depressing for you.
And I was mad because I'm like, so instead you're just gonna leave people that need you to help them live a full life.
Too depressing for you? Try being that person.
Right.
God. See, entitled.
Yes, exactly.
Or it drives me crazy when staff will be like, I'm refusing to work here until this is fixed.
Oh, that drives me nuts.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The only time I ever did
Okay,
that...
so you're going to make it harder on those residents and for everybody else that has to work like 3 shifts in a row.
Yeah.
The only time I ever did that was that one really crappy boss that we had.
That was different though. She basically kicked us out of there because she got mad at us for no reason.
Yeah. And then not even 2 weeks later, she asked Mama J, "Hey, is Nicole available?"
Yeah, and we still went back over there.
But only because I needed the money and I missed the residents.
Right, like I go back for the residents, but like if you're gonna like abuse me as like my supervisor or whatever, like I'm taking a break.
I know, she was like trying to say that I wasn't fulfilling my job duties when I was working with her daughter, and I'm like, how the fuck? Because I'm the one that's doing everything.
Oh yeah, your daughter that like just talks my ear off while I'm trying to do my work.
Or sits on FaceTime.
I hope she watches this episode. She'll know who she is.
No holds bars, bitches. Oh, fuck.
Oh, gosh. But entitlement.
It fucking sucks.
Anyways, I think we kind of covered anything unless you have something to finish up with.
I think the only thing that I would add to this conversation is like, you would think that entitlement's only like one group of people, like boomers or racist people.
It's not. It's everybody.
It's
fucking everybody.
Everyone.
It's everybody. It's like
thinks they're entitled.
It's very much a mindset.
Or like the people that are just hired that think that they should make the same wage as the people that have been there for years.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I hate that. Hate it. Anyways, I think that was my last thought. That's my last little dig that I wanted to get in.
Anyways, so you can find us at Boss Ravioli Queens on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook. Ooh. You can also email us at bossravioliqueens@gmail.com. Yay. Leave questions, comments, concerns, ideas. We love to talk about stuff that you guys want to hear.
Or if you just want to call us fat too, we know.
Yeah,
we already know. We did a whole episode.
It's because we're fat.
It's because we're fat. Fat with a PH.
Anyways, till next time. Bye.